Hey kids, I'm Grant, and we're back for another week. And this week, our topic is space. And so, I have a book here about if I were an astronaut. But first, we have to talk about our first vocab word, an astronaut. So, an astronaut is a person who goes up into space on space shuttles and spaceships. And so, this is an astronaut. If I Were an Astronaut by Eric Brown. If I were an astronaut, I would spy it. I would fly a spacecraft in outer space. If I were an astronaut, I would the G's. Gravity would pin me to my seat as I blast off. Arms and legs would feel like concrete as I rose into space. Now that's our second vocabulary. It's gravity. And so gravity is an invisible force that keeps us on Earth. And so you can try an experiment, and you can try to jump up like this, and you'll always come back down this way, because that's gravity. Okay. And so when you're going up to space, you can feel the gravity trying to push you back down, but the rockets pull you up. If I were an astronaut, I would dock my ship to the space station and gently settle the shuttle into place. Be careful, lighten up on the thrusters. If I were an astronaut, I would be part of a super team. I would work with astronauts and scientists from all around the world. We would learn from each other and help each other. We would have the greatest jobs we could ever imagine. If I were an astronaut, I would run a robotic arm. I would lift huge truss from a shuttle. That part would be added to the space station. Don't bump it, drop it. If I were an astronaut, I would take a spacewalk and I would fix a section of the space station. Stars, planets, and deep space would be all around. What a view. If I were an astronaut, I would try to keep some of my food from floating away. Some foods, like spaghetti or scrambled eggs, would be dried. I would add water before I warm them in the oven. If I were an astronaut, I would sleep stuck to the wall. My sleeping bag would keep me from drifting around the room. I could even sleep upside down like a bat. That'd be kind of weird, right? Yeah. I like to sleep in a bed right side up, right? Yeah. If I were an astronaut, I would do cool science experiments and might even discover important new medicines. If I were an astronaut, each day would be an adventure. I would visit outer space and see amazing things, and I would live in the space station for months at a time. I would have a blast. And so, an astronaut would be a pretty fun job, right? Yeah. All the way up in space. And now our second book is about space shuttles. And so, that's our third vocab word. It's a space shuttle. And you see it's a ship that's designed to take people up into space. It's very powerful. There's lots of rockets. And so it can bring people and supplies up to the moon and other places in space. So Space Shuttles by Gregory Bolt. Space shuttles are vehicles that carry astronauts into space. Large engines and rocket power space shuttles. Astronauts ride in the orbiter section of space shuttles. Astronauts arrive in space only 10 minutes after liftoff. A space shuttle needs lots of power to blast into space. The brown external tank holds engine fuel. This fuel gives power to the main engines. Astronauts control 3 main engines from the flight deck. 2 solid rocket boosters give a shuttle extra power during liftoff. Smaller engines called thrusters help change a shuttle's speed in space. 2 solid rocket boosters give Space Shuttle thrust. The boosters fall to the ocean 2 minutes after liftoff. Workers will clean and fix the empty boosters. They will refill them and then use them for the next flight. The external tank. The brown external tank outside the orbiter holds fuel. The fuel lasts about 9 minutes. Astronauts separate themselves from the empty tank from the shuttle. This makes the shuttle lighter and easier to fly. The external tank breaks into pieces as it falls. Only the orbiter continues into space. The crew cabin. The crew cabin in the orbiter has 2 areas. These areas are the flight deck and the mid-deck. The pilot and commander fly the orbiter from the flight deck. The astronauts live, eat, and sleep in the mid-deck. Eating in space. Astronauts prepare food and eat them in the mid-deck. They add water to dried food and heat it in an oven. Astronauts can eat upside down in space because everything floats. Astronauts do not feel gravity in space. Satellites. The payload bay sometimes holds satellites. Astronauts use a robot arm to put satellites into orbit. Some satellites take pictures of the Earth. Some receive signals from Earth and send signals to Earth. These signals can be telephone calls or TV shows. And so, if you watch TV, you're probably using one of these satellites that go up in space. Experiments in space. The payload bay sometimes hold large laboratories. Astronauts do experiments there to test out new ideas. Astronauts try to learn how animals and plants will grow without gravity. Return to Earth. Astronauts use thrusters to slow down the orbiter. Gravity pulls it back to Earth. Astronauts land the shuttle like an airplane. A parachute slows down the shuttle. The astronauts climb out of the orbiter after it stops. They tell scientists on Earth about the space mission. So, that's space shuttles for you guys. So, I'm going to turn it back to Ethan, and he's going to read you another story, or we're going to have an activity coming up.
Hello, everyone. Grant just read to you a little bit about some space stuff. Space. I'm going to read to you one more book called Life on Mars. And then we're going to do an activity, which we will need the paper roll and copy paper full, or copy filter. Round 3. All right. Life on Mars. Where Mars is? It's another planet. It's up in the sky. You can see it sometimes. Oops. I am on Mars. I have traveled a long way from Earth. I am here to find life. What kind of life do you think? Things like plants or animals? Yeah. Everybody thinks I'm crazy. Nobody believes there's life on Mars, but I do. And I just know that I'm going to find it. Thinks he's going to find something like a plant, animal, or people on Mars. You think he'll find it? Yeah? We'll see. Oh. Maybe he will find something. Looks like a little friend popped up. Something. So far, Mars looks pretty gloomy. More gloomy than I thought. I'm starting to wonder, Could anything possibly live here? What do you think? Do you think anything lives here? Yeah, yeah, he's right there. And then he's behind him the whole time. Ooh, he's really big. How big he is. Little astronaut. Yeah, little astronaut. It's dark. It's cold. I brought this gift of chocolate cupcakes. I don't think I'll find anybody to eat them. You think maybe he'll eat them? Wow, I was wrong. Mars is nothing but miles and miles of rocks and dirt. It's obvious. Nothing could possibly live here. I think you might be wrong. What a disaster. Everybody was right. There is no life on Mars. I'm going home immediately. Oh, you look so sad. What did you drop? You remember what was in those? Yeah, chocolate cupcakes. Oh, he got the chocolate cupcakes. Uh-oh, where's my spaceship? Oh no, I think he might be lost on Mars. I can't believe it. I'm lost. Lost on Mars. Where there is no life. I do think he's lost, but I don't think he's right about there not being life. Wait a minute. What's that? No way. It's life. It's on Mars and it's alive. It's a little plant. Yeah. What an amazing discovery. I can't wait to get back to Earth to tell people what I found. It's a little flower. He picks a little flower. Now I've got to find my spaceship. Then I'll get a good view from the top of that mountain. The mountain's kind of a weird color. That is present though. Aha! There it is. Wait, that's not a mountain. That's another thing that's alive. What an adventure. I always believed there was life on Mars, and I was right. He just didn't find it, right? He's going back in his rocket ship. I think I deserve a treat. Oh, he's gonna have his chocolate cupcake. Ah, what happened? Yeah? The monster or the alien, it ate all of the cupcakes. Yeah, you think he's gonna know? Maybe he'll go back and try to, and be like, who ate all my cupcakes? You know? All right, so first thing I want us to do is to get our toilet paper roll. We're gonna be making a rocket ship, just like he has. And we can put some stickers and stuff on it if we want. We're gonna need this toilet paper roll. And the next thing we're gonna want to do, we're gonna get 2 pieces of coffee filter, or 2 coffee filters. What these are. Ask your parents maybe if they have them. And we're going to stuff them in the bottom. That. We're going to get the other ones. Put them up a little. Put this one up a little. Put it one in the bottom, one in the top, and then one more. Let's see if we can do this. Another thing we could use, we might want to use cupcake. We don't need cupcake wrapper. But if not, we can try to use the cup. This on top. another one. Color them. If not, we could color them ourselves, but I have some colored ones. So that's better. So it looks like this right now. What does it need? It needs those little things on the side. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut out two triangles, two paper triangles. We're going to get some glue. I'm going to put the glue on the paper triangles. Yeah. We have the glue for us. That's not the way we want to go. Start getting the glue out. Oh, there we go. Do that. We want 2 or maybe 3, depending on what kind of, how many little flaps you want in your rocket. So we have some glue on it, and we put it on the rocket, and we put the other one on the other side. Fold it a little, so look like that. And ta-da! Oh, we're gonna want to let it dry for a little bit now, so that when you're done, it should look something kind of like this, or maybe something like this. This one I made a little bit ago, but I didn't make it on the camera. So I think that's all we have for this week. Join us next week. I think next week we're going to be talking about disabilities. So that'll be fun. I'll see you there. Bye.